From fighting with teammates to trying to kill someone on live TV, these are times NFL players went too far. Our first injury on our list is none other than Washington State Heisman finalist Ryan Leaf. For those that are not familiar with Leaf, he was the second overall pick in the 1998 NFL Draft, right behind Peyton Manning. Leaf never really panned out for the Chargers, even though he was selected over Charles Woodson and Randy Moss. Red flags on Leaf were flying early in his career. During his rookie symposium the NFL holds for its first-year players, Leaf decided to leave early from the event and was fined by the NFL $10,000. But after Leaf and his legal team filed a grievance with the league, he was only set to owe $5,000. Leaf would go on to accomplish literally nothing in his career, but that can't be said about the man that picked before him. Leonard Fournette, a Super Bowl winning running back, is known to sometimes step over the line. During a cold November game in Buffalo, Blake Bortles throws an absolute dime to Dante Moncrief, and a fight between Shaq Lawson and Fournette broke out. This scuffle led to a full-blown brawl as both teams were pushing and shoving each other. The refs in this type of situation couldn't do much besides throw their flags and blow the whistle. Lawson and Fournette had to be separated by force and were both ejected from the game. These players stepped over the line, but there's plenty more to come. Dominique Rodgers Cromartie is one of the best cornerbacks to ever do it. DRC during his tenure with New York Giants was suspended after leaving the team facility. The whole story started with Cromartie showing up at the team facility and deciding to leave because he was not in agreement with the coaching staff. Well, sorry Cromartie, you can't just leave your job when you get upset. So the team's head coach at the time, mcadoo, suspended Cromartie before he left the facility, but due to the league's collective bargaining agreement, his suspension could not last longer than 4 games. When DRC was asked about it by ESPN's Josna Anderson, he said, "I handled it the wrong way, but to sit me in a game had me hot, so I left. I was suspended way before I left. I left because I felt that what mcadoo said was BS." The Giants and DRC never really meshed together, but who really meshed with the Giants? Well, no surprise to see you on this list, Vontaze. But yes, Vontaze Burfict, the man known for ruining Antonio Brown. During a 2019 bout with the Indianapolis Colts, Burfict was ejected from the game for a head-to-head hit on Colts tight end Jack Doyle. Since Burfict was the poster boy for head-to-head hits, the NFL decided to dish out a harder punishment. The league suspended Burfict for the season and without pay for the remaining 13 weeks of the season and any playoff games for the repeated violations of unnecessary roughness. This was the start of the NFL cracking down on head-to-head hits. And thank God, could you imagine more Antonio Browns running around? Burfict wasn't the only player to take things too far. Add Danny Trevathan to the list. In a 2017 game against the Green Bay Packers, Trevathan had a huge head-to-head hit with Davante Adams. Trevathan ran full speed at Adams, making a direct hit with Adams, knocking his mouth guard fully out of his mouth. Adams was taken to a hospital and stayed overnight for an evaluation. When he returned home, he tweeted out, "At home, feeling great. Appreciate the prayers." As for Trevathan, he was suspended for 2 games after the league reviewed his hit on Adams. Well, at least Danny wouldn't do it again. I can't say that's true for our friend Vontaze. Drew Brees is one, if not the best quarterback to ever do it. But if he has any regrets about his NFL career, this would be number 1. During the time in the NFL when players would kneel during the national anthem to protest racial inequality, Brees had to say this on the fact, that he will never agree with anyone disrespecting the flag of the United States of America or our country. Well, Drew, you completely misunderstood the assignment. Many people and teammates took Brees' comments as disrespectful. He was quoted later as saying, "Completely missed the mark on current issues in the United States and that it breaks my heart to know the pain that I have caused." After the uproar, Brees caused many of his teammates such as Malcolm Jenkins and others to speak out about his comments and later came in support of Brees for simply not understanding what they were protesting. Well, Drew, at least you're not as canceled as Kyrie at the moment. With only 16 seconds left in the game and somehow one player decided to cross a line, no other player has ever crossed. That player was Myles Garrett. With only 16 seconds remaining, Mason Rudolph and the Pittsburgh Steelers ran a screen pass to run some time off the clock. Rudolph wasn't quick enough to release the ball before Garrett was in his face. They got tangled up on the ground together with some pushing and shoving going on. When they both arrived at their feet, Garrett ripped Rudolph's helmet off and proceeded to slam it down on Rudolph's head. Yeah, Garrett smashed Rudolph with his own helmet. It was the cleanest hit, but still, severe damage could have been caused. The Steelers' offensive line came to help separate the two, while also throwing punches. 33 players were fined in this scuffle, and Joe Buck, the announcer on the call, had this to say about the situation. "That's one of the worst things I've seen on a professional sports field." Both men were interviewed about the the incident, and Garrett claimed that Rudolph called him a racial slur, but no evidence by the NFL was ever found to support his claims. Garrett was suspended by the NFL for 6 games, losing $1.2 million in lost game pay and an additional fine of $45,623. But strap in, boys and girls, we still have number 1 on our list. At number 1, we have a man that people would argue is the number 1 football player of all time. Yes, that would be indeed the GOAT himself, Tom Brady. Recently divorced from supermodel Gisele Bundchen, back in June of 2021, Brady and Gisele announced a long partnership with FTX. Well, what is FTX? FTX is an exchange that allows its users to buy and sell cryptocurrency. Ah yes, cryptocurrency. Gary Vee is rolling over in his sleep thinking about it. But yes, cryptocurrency has bagged many big names with Tom Brady, such as Steph Curry, Shaquille O'Neal, Naomi Osaka, as well as well-known businessman Kevin O'Leary. Anyway, back to our owner, Sam. Sam and FTX created a type of currency called FTT. They produce a lot of their so-called currency, and a ton of that currency was sent to Alameda. When people found out this information with this not being a separate entity, they panicked and tried to withdraw their money. The shock was that Sam Bankman-Fried secretly shifted the $10 billion of their fund to Alameda. A very smart man owned a bank. The problem is he likes to gamble and is bad at it. He was down a lot of money, and one day he wanted to join a high-stake table. He used his made-up money trying to chase his losses back. Well, he lost and now has to pay his tab. So to do this, he robbed his own bank. This all being alleged, of course. When the customers heard about him, his gambling issues, and his losses, the customers went to the bank to get their money from out of the bank. But in the vaults, there wasn't enough money to pay them back. With this whole situation going down, Tom and Gisele are now being sued for defrauding with FTX endorsements. They were quoted in multiple commercials saying, "I'm in, and let's call everyone." Well, Tom, you better call Gronk to come bail you out of another situation because you're going to need some serious dough to get out of this mess. After all, this FTX is bankrupt. Tom and Buccaneers suck, and Gisele is now single. Looks like things aren't as green as you thought they would be, Tom. It doesn't stop here for Brady, of course. It's gonna get worse. For this one fan in particular, they've been a lifelong Patriots fan, and Brady won everything with them. Just to list a few things to remind you: 3 league MVPs, 4 Super Bowl MVPs, and the 6 Super Bowls. Michael Livieratos is the fan in question, who joins a long list of people waiting to sue against a slew of celebrities, including Brady. He lost $30,000 as a result of the collapse, he told the Washington Post. As a New England Patriots fan my entire life, you can imagine the influence that Tom Brady would have. You think having 7-time Super Bowl winner would make you think that it validates FTX, but as we have already discussed, it does not. This is by far the most severe entry on our list, but it's worth bringing to light. But hey people, let's switch the mood up. Go check out the most embarrassing moments in NFL history right here.